Hi everyone, and welcome back. Today I just wanted to go over real quickly prepping plans for a pandemic. Now, even those of you who don't like to watch the news, I'm sure have heard by now about the virus out of China. And it's more than likely going to go worldwide. It's going to be here in the United States and probably most every other country, Canada, the UK, Australia, all of Europe most likely. And so, yeah, you got to have some kind of plan for it. Now, I think a lot of us already have like flu plans and stuff, what we're going to do. So you're just going to kind of, I feel, do the same thing, only bump it up a notch. And I say that for a couple of reasons. For one, the seasonal flu here in the United States has a 0.1% mortality rate. While with this new virus, it's right around 2%, a little over. So it's not horrible, but it is more than the seasonal flu. And it is super contagious, as we all know. And it does not sound very pleasant. It's a pneumonia-like flu. Now, I've had pneumonia 5-6 times in my life, and I really don't want to ever get it again. It's terrible. And then, of course, you got to worry about the real young, the real old, and then people with compromised immune systems or, underlying health issues that put them more at risk. And with this extremely long incubation period with this virus, that is really how I feel like it's going to spread a lot, because so many people aren't going to think they have it, until they actually become physically ill. And so I've been reading a lot, but honestly, the information seems to change daily. Now, you can go ahead and check out the CDC website. And that'll give you some great, I'll put a bunch of links down in the description box. That'll give you some information on what's coming from them. And, then there's WHO, and then there's just other medical experts, throughout the country, putting in their 2 cents, what they think. And I guess I'm taking the middle of the road. Is I don't think, it's not going to be like China, where all the schools in the entire country are closed. They did that shortly after this virus started, and I don't know if the schools are open as of yet. I don't think we're going to have complete cities quarantined or anything along those lines. But I do think probably a lot more people will get sick from this virus than they will the common flu. And because none of us have an immunity to it, and there are no vaccines. So I feel you have to be hyper vigilant, to keep yourself and your family healthy as much as you can. And hopefully, if anyone including yourself, gets it, hopefully you'll have a mild version and it won't be that big of a deal. But the thing I have a problem with this is how long you're contagious as well. So let's say you get a phone call. Good friend of yours who you had lunch with 2 days ago is now sick with the virus, but you feel fine. What do? Do you still go to work and potentially infect who knows how many people? But you might not be sick. You don't know. See, it's tricky. You gotta you got to try to make some plans ahead of time as to what would you do? What would you want your friend to do? Would you want your friend showing up at work? Stopping at the grocery store on the way, the gas station, whatever? Well, right now, from what I have read, people with suspected cases of the virus are being told to self-quarantine. And I think that's a great idea. You know, just stay home. Keep your kids home. It might really be bad for the paycheck, but you know, what are your other options? So, as far as what to do, if you haven't already got your stuff together, I would really suggest you do so soon, because once this becomes a little bit more mainstream, where more and more cases are popping up, I think right now there's around 55 cases in the United States, but it's going to be a lot more than that. And then when you go looking for stuff, they may not have it. For instance, right now, you can't find those surgical masks anywhere. And even if you go on Amazon, they're already price gouging that kind of stuff. And most authorities say they don't work. If you're a healthy person and you're looking to keep the germs out, they're not really going to work for you. An N95 mask might, but all the other ones won't. The only good thing about having those masks is if someone in your family becomes ill and you need to take them out of the house. Them having the mask could potentially help with them not spreading it. But as far as being healthy and catching it, the masks really don't do much at all. So I guess don't worry about getting them if you can't. If you can't find some at a reasonable price, then just don't bother. If you do end up with a sick loved one, just make something. Make your own kind of mask or something. But anyhow, I'm going to go over a few of these things that I have on hand, which I think most of us do. And if you don't, they're easily, purchased at any big box store or grocery store. Okay, gloves. These plastic gloves here, well, these are vinyl. These I would just keep on hand if someone at home is sick. So if you're the primary caregiver, let's say you have a sick room, that's where all sick people go. Or if everybody in your house has their own bedroom, that'll be their sick room, whatever. But here you go to try and keep yourself, not sick. But you could also use these if you are one of them people that does have an underlying health condition or, a compromised immune system. I would wear these out in public myself. You can use those wipes on the cart at the grocery store, but what are you going to do every time you go, say, to dairy or frozen and you grab that handle to open it up? I mean, there's just so many things we touch that we don't even think about. So I would put these on before going into the store, and as I'm leaving, throw them away. And on those lines, sanitizer, hand sanitizer, keep it in your purse, keep it in your pocket, keep it in your car. When you can't get soap and water, and I think soap and water hand washing is better than hand sanitizer. I think it really does a better job. But if you can't do that, then use these. Keep them everywhere and really work it in. They say any hand sanitizer that has over 60% alcohol will kill most germs. And this one has 62. These are wipes. They're antibacterial wipes. They fit, this particular package fits right in the cup holder in your car. So you can have these. These are good enough where you can wipe down kids' face and hands and all of that kind of stuff. Especially if you don't want to put this like on a toddler's hands. You can use this. It's not sticky. It dries really quick. And it too It says it gets 99.9% of germs. Then we have this. This is a disinfectant spray that you would use at home. Let's say you have people over or something and you later find out they were sick. Or you just don't know. You want to make sure your house is not germ-free, but doesn't have that particular germ in it. This, I feel, is good for spraying stuff like doorknobs, handles, even light switches. Don't go too heavy on that, but you know, it's better than trying to walk around the house with one of these and hitting every little thing that people may have touched. Oh, and this too, I feel, works really good for soft items. So like throw pillows on the couch or blankets or stuffed animals, stuff like that. Moving on. Let's see here. Well, so somebody's sick in your house. Now what? Well, you're going to want to isolate them from everybody else, which may or may not work, but you know, that's what you can do. And this is what I have. All disposable drinkware and dishes and utensils. So once they have eaten, you don't have to touch any of that stuff again. Just have it goes directly in the garbage. Like I got this here, I wanted to show you this. It's just a laundry basket, a super cheap one. Well, you can make that into a garbage can that sits right next to the sick bed. So then you just put a bag in there and they can throw this kind of stuff in there directly. You don't have to touch it, nobody else has to touch it. You're good to go. So go ahead and pick this stuff up if you don't have it already. Chances are when people are really sick, they're not going to eat a whole lot. They just don't feel like it. But you want to make sure you have this. Along those lines, I feel like I keep saying that. Only because I am, right? I keep saying it. Extra paper towel. Extra garbage bags. Extra tissues. Like all your paper products. What if it's you who's sick? Are you going to want to run out to the store when you're really, really not feeling well and potentially infect a bunch of people because you ran out of garbage bags or something along those lines? I did it again. No, you're not. So make sure you have that extra on hand. And speaking of which, your prescriptions, make sure to get those filled up right away. You're not going to want to have to worry about that. What if you have to be quarantined at home or isolated for 2 weeks or more? You need to have your stuff. And pet supplies, make sure you have plenty of pet supplies on hand. You know, dog and cat food and treats and cat litter, stuff like that. Make sure you have that on hand. And with that, talking about medicine, have cold and flu medicine at home too. Because you're going to feel, from what I gather, it starts off kind of like a cold but rapidly turns into the flu. And so you want a pain reliever. Pain reliever, fever reducer, because I guess one of the first symptoms is having a fever. And body aches are horrible when you're sick. And so this is ibuprofen. If you need to, get some Tylenol or use aspirin or whatever works for you, but make sure to have plenty on hand. And I did say that a lot of times when people are ill, especially ill with anything that is a fever, they don't really feel like eating, but it's especially important for them to take in at least liquids at that time, because you don't want anybody dehydrating. Not only is that dangerous, it makes you feel worse too. So I have here extra teas, real honey. Make sure, there's so much fake honey out there these days, Make sure the kind of honey you have is real honey. If you can't get it from a local person, which a lot of people can't, research that company. So hopefully you'll have the real stuff. This is a local one, and it's raw and unfiltered, so that's some of the best stuff you can get. Broth, chicken broth, veggie broth, beef broth. A lot of times, like when people can't eat, they can have some soup. Get canned soups. Make sure you have enough food on hand at home, especially if you go down and you're the only one who can normally run to the store, you know, or if you're taking care of kids, you're a single parent. Are you going to be able to leave to go and buy this stuff and leave your sick child at home? I mean, it's just things you need to think about. And just like, you know, needing to have a plan, like if your child's school or daycare closes for a week or longer at a time, what are you going to do? You know, do you have a grandma or a neighbor or somebody that can watch the kids, you know, while something like that goes on? Because it could happen. Hopefully it doesn't, but it could. And then this too. This is cranberry juice, but there's a whole bunch of different kinds of shelf-stable juices. Great for adults, not just kids, but yeah, kids will most likely drink juice over tea. So you might want to have some of that on hand too. Grape juice is really good. Apple juice. This here is elderberry syrup that I canned myself, but you can buy it in the store. Now, if you find out people in the area are coming down sick, start taking this. Take at least 2-3 teaspoons a day, because it really does boost your immune system. And if you should happen to get sick, take it at least 3 times a day then too, because it will help you to feel a little bit better and hopefully to get over it a little faster. But anyhow, that's what I have to talk to you guys about. You know, I think this is something new for all of us. None of us have ever really been around some kind of illness that traveled around the world, so it should be interesting to see. I don't think it's a doom and gloom situation. I don't think it's anything anyone should panic about. Like I said earlier, the information keeps changing almost every day, so you would want to keep up on that. And make sure to check out your local community health department website. That's probably where you're going to get the most information as to what's going on in your community health-wise. So anyhow, thanks for watching. Leave comments down below. Like, what did I miss? What could you do better? Or, you know, I think it's great if people will put their thoughts down, so if I didn't think of something, maybe you did, and we can share that with each other, you know. It would just be a wonderful thing if we just put our heads together and got through this just fine. So anyhow, thumbs up, I'd appreciate that. And I appreciate you taking the time to watch the video too. It is awesome of you to do that. It was nice talking to you. And you take care.